So likewise, Linux is an operating system which interacts between user and hardware. Linux is a command based operating system, not like Windows based operating system. Keep in mind.
Okay.
So Windows based operating systems are Windows and based on a graphical user interface, easy to navigate, easy to browse, easy to monitoring everything in the case of Windows based operating system. Whereas Linux is a command based operating system. Linux is an extension of a Unix operating system. Unix is a uniflexed information computing system. Unix is developed by Ken Thompson. Unix is a multitasking operating system, and Unix and Linux having high security concepts and high security concepts are presented. Now, Linux is a extension of Unix. Linux expansion, Priya, do you know Linux expansion? LUNUX. Any idea?
No idea, Anna.
No problem. Linux expansion is look. L for look. Look into new version of Unix. Look into new version of Unix. Linux is developed by Linus Torvalds. He is a 16-year-old boy. While playing internet games, he invented a Linux operating system at Finland.
Okay.
Ah, so he is a 16-year-old boy. While playing internet games, he invented this Linux operating system because so many viruses are attacked by attacked for Windows based operating system, and this is Unix and Linux. There is no chance of attack of viruses because the root concepts starts from different in Unix and Linux, whereas in Windows GUI based components are very high. GUI based, what is meant by GUI, Priya?
Graphical user interface.
Very good, Amma. Very good answer. Graphical user interface. So, Windows based operating system fully based on GUI based. Now, see here, Linux introduction is Linux is a free and open source operating system. So, freely available software in the internet. If you want to download anywhere, you can download a Linux operating system. Open source is nothing but you can add your own patches to the existing software, that is called open source operating system. Then what
Oh,
about Linux provides a multi-user environment? Means different users are connecting and different users are working simultaneously in Unix and Linux operating system. That is a greatness of Unix and Linux operating system. Keep in mind, multi-user environment means multiple users are at a time, they can work and perform various tasks at a time by using Unix and Linux operating system. Okay.
okay.
What is meant by the expansion of Linux?
Look into new version of
Very
Unix.
good, Amma. Very good. Who developed Linux operating system? Linus Torvalds. Linus. Li
Okay.
Linus. Linus Torvalds. Torvalds. Linus Torvald from Finland. Is from Finland. He invented while playing internet games. There are there are many drawbacks in Windows based operating system. Even in Linux, he avoided those drawbacks and invented Linux operating system. Multiple users are connected to at a time and they are performing various tasks. Okay. So what about Linux architecture? What is meant by Linux architecture? What is meant by architecture is nothing but a structure which comprising of software components and hardware components and connections among them is called Linux architecture. Linux look into new version of Unix. Architecture is a structure which comprises software and hardware components and connections among them is based on a client server model. Who is client? You and me are the clients. Who is server? IBM Blade server, Intel server, Microsoft server. Like model is nothing but simplified version of the reality, and that's why client server model architecture based Linux. It consists of the kernel, shell, and file system. Now you need to understand what is the meaning of kernel. Kernel is a heart of Linux operating system, and
Okay.
where we are starting our program through shell programming. Shell is a window where we are writing our own commands, copy command, and paste command, delete command, rename command. So many commands we are using in the shell.
Okay.
And file system, what is meant by file? File is a collection of related data, is called file. How many types of files are there, Priya? So many types of files are there. Permanent files, temporary files, sequential files, random files, binary system files, so many files. Okay, so
Okay.
file system is a very important concept in Linux and shell scripting concept based on the root, and we are creating the file. Under that file we are first we are creating a directory. Under that directory we are creating the file. Under that file we are giving the name of the file, etc. I will show you. Then what is meant by Linux kernel? The kernel is the core of the Linux operating system. What is meant by core? Can you list out what are the core subjects of? You are from CSC or ECE, Priya?
ACE.
Very good. What are the subjects? Three subjects, core subjects of ECE operating ECE subject. What are the core subjects? Dist
Electronic devices.
and very good, Amma. Correct answer.
Network theory.
Correct.
Signal processing.
Perfect, Amma. And digital logic design.
Digital circuits.
Digital circuits. Perfect, Amma. So the kernel is a heart of a Linux operating system, and you know already Linux operating system is a software which consists of numerous commands and instructions and rules and regulations. That's why it is a operating system interaction between user and hardware. User is myself, and hardware is a physical material which can be touchable. Then it interacts directly with the hardware. Can you give example for hardware? RAM is a hardware, motherboard is a hardware, monitor is a hardware,
Mouse.
keyboard, very good, keyboard is a hardware, mouse is a hardware, fantastic answer. Then it interacts directly with the hardware and manages resources. What are the resources? Hardware resources and software resources. What are the hardware resources? Sir, my system capacity is 1 terabytes of storage space, and 5 1 GB, 2 GB, 8 GB RAM in my system. Okay, so 8 GB RAM is a hardware, and 1 terabytes is a hardware, and we are installing operating system is a software. We are installing Windows based operating system. We are installing a Linux based operating system. we are installing Apple, Mac OS operating system, etc. That's why it interacts with directly hardware and manages resources. Next, coming to Linux file system. Linux uses a hierarchical file system. What is meant by hierarchical, Priya? Root node and followed by the child nodes is called hierarchy.
Okay.
Then common directories including home and etc. variable we will see now. Then Linux commands like commands such as ls means listing.
List.
Very good. List. How many files are there in your system? That is called ls. What is meant by cd? Change directory.
Help directory.
Very good, Amma. What is pwd?
Present working directory.
Perfect answer, Amma. Navigate the system. Navigate means we are checking which directory, which file, and we are according to some procedure we are following. Then ls means it lists files and directories. Then managing files and directories like by using commands like cp, mv, and rm. CP means copy command, MV means moving command, RM means renaming command for copying, moving, and removing files.
Okay.
Directories are managed using mkdir. Directories are managed using mkdir means we are making the directory, keep in mind. Then file, you can call, what is the heading of this slide, Priya?
File permissions.
File permissions. What is meant by file? File is a collection of interrelated data is called file. Tell me. File
Collection of interrelated data.
is called file. What are the permissions are there? There are plenty of permissions like each file in Linux has three types of permissions like read permission, write permission, and execute permission. These are the three types of file permissions we can see in Linux operating system: read, write, and execute. Then permissions can be changed with chmod. Change directory is called change chmod.
Okay.
Then so understand understanding the Linux shell, we need to have sir, I'm in the training, sir. So there are various files we can see in Linux shell programming. The shell is an interface for interacting with the Linux system. Okay, shell is a windows or interface. You can tell simply shell is an interface for interacting with the Linux system. The popular shells include bash and zsh. So either bash or zsh we need to use as shells for practical implementation. So this is about understanding the Linux shell. Then what is meant by bash shell? Bash scripting. Scripting means we are writing our own commands. Okay,
Okay.
our own instructions we are writing. Bash scripts are files containing a series of commands. Then the first line is usually hash, not, then followed by the forward slash bin slash bash. We are getting a interface like to specify the shell that is called bash scripting. Then variables in bash usually what are the uh, variables? What is meant by variable?
It
Variable
stores the
varies.
data.
Yeah, very good, Amma. Variable varies value under. See, variable varies value at a runtime duration, and bash allows you to create variables without declaring their types. Then to assign a value is called var is equal to value. That is called bash shell. Then conditional statements in bash, we have if condition, else condition, elif condition to handle conditional statements. That is called conditional statement, means true or false. Whether the given statement is true or false, by using if command, else command, elif command to handle conditional execution is called conditional statements in bash. Bash is a interface, keep in mind. If statement, if is a conditional statement, checks a condition and else returns an alternate block. That's why we are using conditional statements. Then what about loops in bash? Loop is a iterative statement. If you want to run a program 100 times, we are using for loop statements, while loop statements, and do while statement. For loops iterate over a range of values is called for loop, and while loops executes as long as a condition is true. Okay, then we are going for functions in bash. What is meant by function? Function is a self-contained block of statements to perform specific task is called functions. Functions are two types: predefined functions and user defined functions. Functions are allows you to group commands into reusable blocks. That is a great advantage of functions. Reusable code. Define a function using function name, parenthesis begin, parenthesis close, flower brace begin, and followed by the commands for flower brace close. Then redirecting input output in Linux commands. How you are changing the input and output commands. Linux uses greater than symbol to redirect output to a file. Less than can be used to redirect input from a file. This is the way we are changing the redirecting input output in Linux. Then piping in Linux. Piping means one uh, one function input becomes one function output becomes input. That input becomes for output. Like that, the pipe symbol is you can call it as a R. That symbol we can call it as a R. Sends the output of one command as input to another command. Then used to chain multiple commands together is called piping in Linux commands. Working with the text files, we are using cat. Why we are using cat? For displaying the file content. So then grep command, you can generate to regular expressions. So grep you can use searches for text within a file. Okay, so grep is one of the text command for generative regular expressions. Generative regular expression searches for text within files. So practical example, hello world script. How we are writing? Create a simple script to display hello world. Today we are executing hello world program. This is the way we are writing. Write like this: echo hello comma within the double quotation or single quotation, same, greater than hello dot sh means shell. You are executing hello dot sh, it will print a hello world. That's all. That is a simple example. Practical example for directory listing, like create a script to list all files in a directory. What is the command we are using? ls-l greater than directory underscore listing dot sh. If you give this command, it will display the number of files in a directory. Then a practical example of file backup script. Write a script to create a backup of a file. We are using command like cp /source underscore file /backup underscore location. By using this command, we are creating a backup of a file. Then debugging bash scripts. What is meant by debugging? Eliminating errors in a program is called debugging. Bash is a interface. Script is nothing but we are writing our own code. Use bash hyphen x to run a script in debug mode. It prints each command before executing. Then with this one, the first program concept is completed. Shall we? These are the concepts we are executing today. So the contents for Linux and shell scripting with the practical session. 10 programs I am going to demonstrate, Priya.
Okay, Anna.
File system with navigation, file permissions, process management, text file manipulation, shell variables, looping constructs, conditional statements, file redirection and pipes, command line arguments, and scheduling tasks. These are the 10 topics tomorrow I am going to explain. Now you have to explain this whatever I have explained, very simple concept today. You try to execute, you try to explain, that's all today. Very simple concepts. Now you can explain now, Priya. I want to listen from you. What you understood. Within 10 minutes you need to close the session. Tell me.
Okay, Anna.
Yeah, please. Carry on.
Linux is an operating system.
Fantastic.
Its full form is Look into New Version of Unix.
Correct.
Was developed by Linus Torvalds.
Correct.
Linux is a free and open source operating system.
Ah, perfect, Amma.
Linux provides a multi-user environment.
Yes, perfect. What is meant by multi-user environment? Multiple
Multiple
users.
users can use.
Yes, very good answer. Next, Amma.
Architecture means structure.
Structure.
Linux architecture is based on a client-server model. Client means us. It consists of kernel, shell, and file system.
Correct. Next, Linux kernel.
The kernel is the core of the Linux operating system. It
Hmm.
interacts directly with hardware and manages resources.
Perfect.
Linux uses a hierarchical file system.
Hmm.
Common directories include home, etc.
Variable. Okay, next.
Variable. Commands Linux commands basic commands such as list, change to directory, and
Present.
present working directory help navigate the system.
Perfect, Amma.
List command will list the files and directories.
Fantastic answer. Next.
To manage files and directories, we use cp, move, and rm. cp for copying,
Hmm.
mv for moving the files, and rm for removing the files.
Very good.
By using mkdir, we can create a new directory.
Very good. Very good. Then file permissions.
File permissions. Each file in Linux has three types of permissions:
Hmm.
read, write, and execute.
Hmm.
Permissions can be changed with chmod command.
Perfect.
Understanding the Linux shell. The shell is an interface for interacting with the Linux system. Popular shells are Bash and ZSH.
Perfect.
Bash scripting basics. Bash scriptings are files containing a series of commands.
Hmm.
The first line is usually hash
Not
not slash bin
bin
slash bash
to
to
specify.
specify the shell.
Perfect, Amma.
Variables in Bash. Bash allows you to create variables without declaring their types. To assign a value, variable equal to value.
Perfect.
Conditional statements. We use if, else, and else if to handle conditional execution.
Hmm.
If checks a condition and else runs an alternate block.
Hmm. Next.
Loops in Bash. There are two loops, for loops and while loops. For loops will iterate over a range of values. While loop will execute as long as condition is true.
Perfect.
Functions in Bash. Functions allows us to create group of commands into reusable blocks. Define a function using function underscore name parenthesis
Hmm.
flower brackets commands.
Correct.
Redirecting input or output in Linux. Linux uses greater than symbol to redirect output to a file, and less than symbol can be used to redirect input from a file.
Piping.
Piping in Linux. The pipe sends the output of one command as input to another,
Correct.
used to chain multiple commands together. Working with test file. Using cat, we can display the file content, and grep will search for text within the files.
Correct.
Practical example, Hello World script. Create a simple script to display Hello World. Write echo Hello World not greater than hello.sh. Practical example, directory listing. Create a script to list all files in a directory. Use ls
Right.
-l greater than directory underscore listing.sh.
Next. Last one.
Write a script. Practical example for file backup script. Write a script to create backup of a file. Use cp slash source underscore file slash backup underscore location.
Perfect, Amma.
Debugging bash script. Use bash-x to run a script in debug mode. It prints each command before executing.
With this one, we are closing the session today.
Okay, Anna.